And, one day there was one of my buddies was working the front desk. And, if a female was checked into the male's dorm,
Wah, wah, wah.
her her ID card would be at the desk. Hey, what's up, you guys? I'm Marlon.
I'm Joelle.
And we are the Peculiar Adares. We'd like to say welcome to our channel. Thank you for clicking on this video. We are a family of 6 that moved from Southwest Louisiana to Central Mississippi to enjoy country living. My wife and I both grew up in the country, and we have 4 children that grew up pretty much in a subdivision in the city. So we wanted our children to have the experience or experiences of living in the country. So we packed up everything and moved back to family land in Central Mississippi. This is where we basically log part of our journey in our move, some things that we've faced, challenges we've faced since we've been back in Central Mississippi. And we wanted to bring you guys along with us.
Yeah, so our channel is basically about 3 things: family, faith, and farm life. And so typically our videos are spent around a farm doing, farm chores, things like that. But we decided to do something different this time. We're going to be doing something like an anniversary series because it is our anniversary. We're celebrating our 15th year anniversary. And so there are some topics that we kind of want to share with y'all that we hope you all found some value in.
Absolutely. So we want you guys to stay tuned. Please look forward to the videos that will be coming out in the coming days, in the coming weeks. We certainly have some topics that, as my wife mentioned, that we'd like to talk about from our perspective that basically will come from biblical principles that we live by. We certainly like to take the things that we find in Scripture and apply them to our own lives and teach them to our children, because they are certainly the values that we hold as parents, as adults, and as individuals, but certainly in our marriage and in our home. So we like to incorporate those things into our family, into the fabric of who we are as the Peculiar Adares. We're going to share, like she said, some things about marriage. We want to bring you guys along with this. It's gonna be fun. I think we'll have some fun conversations about some things, and then we'll have some very serious conversations about some things that will help you enhance your marriage and help you start to think about possibly some things that you haven't thought about in your own marriage that will help strengthen your marriage and basically, as my wife kind of says, winterize your marriage when you have challenging times that come.
Yeah, and we're not claiming to know it all, but we have made it to 15 years. So I don't think you make it to 15 years haphazardly. So yeah, so we've definitely learned some things along the way that we would love to share.
That's it, you guys. That's why we're here.
So y'all, I don't know if y'all can tell in the videos, but we are both introverts. So being content creators is a challenge for us because we I guess we kind of struggle a little bit, but we're trying to connect more with our audience. So we want to share our story, like our love story, so y'all can get to know us some more. So hubby is going to take it off because he tells the story so much better than I do.
I do?
Yeah.
Oh.
So we're going to share how we met and just our love story.
Well, I'll start. That doesn't mean I won't say the whole thing, right?
Well, no, yeah.
Okay.
Of course, I'm going to interject and, say my spin on it, or put my spin on it a little bit.
All right. Well, so it all started back in 2003, which to date, well, this is 2025, not quite to date. In August, it'll be to date, but back in 2003, so that's what, 22 years ago? Wow. That is crazy. 22 years ago was the first time I laid these eyes on this beauty right here. Obviously, time has brought about a change, and it's been a good change. I can tell you that. So back in 2003, we both, we graduated high school, and we ended up at the same college. And it's kind of a story in itself how we both ended up at the same college, because we were actually, both of us were considering, and I think had even been accepted into other universities, right?
Yeah. So Y'all, we are going to try to tell this story within a short amount of time. It's so much to it because it's such a God thing, and so it's hard to leave out details. But so, well, yeah, in 2023, no, I was 2003. I was determined to go to the University of Southern Mississippi. I was determined to go. So that was my first choice as far as schools go. I don't know if it was your first choice.
No, my first choice was Mississippi State.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I was basically sold on going to Mississippi State up to I think it was 2 weeks before school started, and I was like, I'm going to USM. I'm going to Southern Miss. And I mean, I had been accepted into both schools, so literally 2 weeks before. I mean, looking back now, I know why. Why I changed my mind and why it was strategic and why I believe God orchestrated that change for me to make from going to Starkville, Mississippi to Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
That's so funny though, because we'll get somewhere else later in the story. Because I don't know if I realized that, but okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so we ended up at Southern Miss in Hattiesburg, and this was on, I think, August 18th, 2003, where they had a premiere weekend for all the incoming freshmen. So basically, we were having all sorts of freshman activities and freshman events going on around the campus. I think the one thing that we had that was pretty big was the painting the boardwalk, which was the concrete slab under the stadium that the football team would enter in during home games. So that was the very first time I saw Joelle. We were all out there. We had our USM shirts, and people had their faces painted, and it was just a big thing. And I saw her, and I think she had on that day one of the yellow. I want to say it was one of the yellow shirts, maybe one of the yellow USM shirts with the little. You know how ladies would tie their shirts in the back or pull it in the back, and where it kind of fit, or maybe it was cut up.
I did.
I think it was kind of cut up. That was the thing back then. I haven't seen people do that in a long time. Where the shirts would have little. They would take it and cut it into designs, basically. And she had I can almost remember that having a shirt on like that. And I saw her, and now me personally, I've people have said, or friends I've had in the past have always told me that I was color struck, for light skinned girls. And I don't necessarily think that was true, because, well, I mean, I don't really get into what the reason. I mean, I knew, if I saw a girl that I thought looked good, I just thought she looked good. I mean, it didn't, mean whatever to me, but I saw this beauty with that chocolate smooth skin, and then her hair was pressed. I mean, it was
permed at the time.
She had a perm at the time, but it was long. It was black. It was straight, and to go along with the smooth dark skin, and just the structure of her face. Just, I mean, all the diamond. I mean, the almond shaped eyes. Just all those things. Just, oh my, just made a beautiful sight for me to see. So I saw her, and I was, again, this was an event. A lot of people moving around, a lot of people out there. I mean, it was probably thousands of, at least, I don't know, maybe 1,000 of us out there.
It was a lot.
It was a lot of us. Yeah. So I saw her and thought in that moment, wow, she looks really good, and just kind of went on. I mean, again, there was so many people out there, a lot of moving around. So we ended up having an event in the recreational center, the rec center at the school, and y'all, they basically divided it. Well, we were going in, all of us were going into the facility. There's a lot of doors, a lot of people going in, and I saw her again, going in the rec center, and I was like, oh wow, there's that girl again. And we go in there, and they start dividing us into groups based on our birth dates, birth months, and we get in there, and they say, if your birthday is in January, whatever, go over here. If your birthday's in this month, go here, go here, go here. And it turns out we ended up being in the same group with August birthdays. And then they broke it down into a much smaller group, saying if your birthday is between the 1st and the 15th or something like that, you come right here. If your birthday is after the 15th to the 30th or 31st, you come over here. Y'all, guess what? We were in the same group again. We're still in the same group. So at this point, I'm like, oh, like wow, we have birthdays that are close, and but me now I was very. She mentioned a little earlier about us being introverts. I was just a shy person. Um, I was. I've always been confident in who I was and who I am, but I just didn't talk a lot. Certainly not to girls. Yeah, no, I didn't talk a lot to girls. I mean, I didn't talk a lot to boys either. To guys, like friend guys either, until I kind of grew up, kind of got out of there. But we ended up being in the same group. They started giving us these icebreakers, questions and things to ask, and all of these kind of things. And I'm just like, man, like she really looks good. And we had to have a conversation where we spoke to each other, and then I think we did we I think we asked about each other's birthdays or where we were from or something at that point also. But we were in that close of proximity, and I was just kind of blown away, like, man, like this is a really pretty girl. We're in the same group. I was not about to. It wasn't even crossing my mind to ask for a phone number, to ask if she had a boyfriend or none of that, because I'm just like, oh man, like this is a real pretty girl, and she's like right here, and I'm gonna say what we need to say in the conversation that we had to have, and I'm gonna keep moving. You remember anything else?
Yeah, I noticed
moment?
him. I noticed him too. But when I saw him, like I knew that there was something different about him, and it's funny because I say this like I did a speech before I walked down the aisle, and that was part of my speech. Like I knew something was different about him. But yes, I noticed him. Dark chocolate, handsome man. I did notice him, and I noticed that he was very quiet, like really quiet. And so we didn't. I mean, I think we did tell each other our names. Like I knew your name, but that was pretty much it.
I think birthdays, names, birthday. I think maybe where we were from, what school we went to. Just kind of. I mean, obviously, very surface level stuff. Yeah. I mean, we had just first time seeing each other, but we were kind of forced. I say forced because we were put into these groups, and we ended up being in the same group. Now, if she would have been in a January group or something like that, I mean, we may not even be sitting here right now. But that was like the part of the initial stages of us recognizing each other, as she's just saying, she recognized me too. I mean, but those were the beginning stages of how we first saw each other. So I guess to kind of fast forward a little bit, we actually, let's see, I don't know if it was the first semester or the second, where we ended up having an English class together. And once again, I'm like, oh man, like, okay, now she's in we got a class together. So I did look forward to going to that class when that day came. I don't know if it was Tuesday, Thursday, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I think it was maybe Tuesday and Thursday because I don't think I saw her that frequently. But I think it was like 2 days a week that we had that class.
I think it was Tuesday and Thursday.
And I just enjoyed seeing her in the class. I mean, out of all the young ladies, all the girls on the campus, I mean, trust me, there were literally thousands upon thousands of other young ladies there. She really caught my eye, and I kept that picture in my mind. I mean, I literally still have it in my mind now to this day, and I mean that's been 22 years ago. So fast forward a little bit, we had the class together. One day in our English class, our professor asked a question. Do you remember what that question was?
I remember. She said, she asked, who believes it's wrong to tell a white lie? Isn't that it?
Yeah, that was the question. I don't know how she got to that. We were having a discussion about something, and that was the question. Y'all, there were only 2 people in the room that had their hands up. It was us 2. Now, say what you may, think what you may. I thought that was pretty telling about what type of girl she was. I say girl, but young lady she was. I was like, okay, there's something to that. Because for us to be the only 2 in the class, and it was at least probably 25, maybe 30 people in that class at the age of 17 at that time, just about to be 18, probably 18 by then, 18 years old. So that stood out. And from that day to this day, I mean, we still kind of bring that up. So I thought it was very important for to have someone. I mean, in that moment, like looking at her, thinking, "Wow, she thinks it's wrong to tell a white lie. I think it's wrong to tell a white lie." That could be a that's a good virtue. That's a good characteristic. A good value to have. So time went on, y'all. I'm trying to not leave out many details, but I'm gonna kind of speed it up a little bit, and then Joelle kind of will come in and say some things that she also that she remembers. So kind of speed things up a little bit. We never really talked much more than seeing each other in class. Hey, we would speak to each other and just kind of go on. I'd see her around campus, and I think one day, I don't know how we got around to it. Um, I figured out, oh, well, I do know how I got around to it. One day I was in the dorm, in the dorm rooms, they would have, sometimes there would be students that would work the desk. And, one day there was one of my buddies was working the front desk. And, if a female was checked into the male's dorm, her, her ID card would be at the desk. Like they had this little index box, and you'd have to check in with your ID. And I was down there talking to my buddy. I think it was either on a weekend or it was getting late. Because when it was getting late or it was on the weekend, they were ready to leave, they would take out the cards and just have them spread out on the counter. So I, came down there and I think I was, I went to the vending machine, got me a honey bun. Man, that thing, I spent so much money on those honey buns in that vending machine. If I could just have my dollars back. Anyway, I was down there and I started looking at the ID cards on the counter, and lo and behold, I saw a picture and a name on the ID card that of this young lady that I thought was just, oh man, she's so beautiful, she's so pretty, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I mean, I like I said, I wasn't pursuing or trying to do anything, to tell her like, hey, look, I'm interested in you, none of that. So I was just like, oh man, okay, and I went on. But that day, that told me, okay, well, obviously she probably has a boyfriend, and I think we talked about it at some point. I don't know how. I really don't know how we got to that conversation. Maybe did I tell you that I saw your card there or something?
I think you probably remember? Did.
I think I may have told her, and then she told me that she had a boyfriend and all that. So fast forward a little bit more. I was sitting in the cafeteria area, which was called the Commons. I don't know if they still.
You fast forwarded a lot.
Really?
Because you skipped the part when you looked up the number. On the phone.
Well, no, I don't think I got to that yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I don't. Well, wait, no. Yeah, no, that's true. That is right. Yeah, okay. Well, actually, that happened, I think, before I saw the card. Yeah, it did, actually. That happened before, well, I'm saying what happened. I think that happened before I saw her ID, because then once I saw the ID, I was like, oh, man, like, okay. All right, well. So let's rewind real quick. Thank you for bringing it up. So I didn't have the courage to ask her for a phone number. Like, it just wasn't in me. I just didn't have it. So what I did was we had a campus directory. If you lived on campus, your name, your dorm room phone number, and I think did it have like a home address or something? Like where we were from or what school we went to? High school?
I remember.
Okay, so it was at least the name and the dorm room phone number. I knew her first name.
Wait, you get my last name from
Yeah, okay, y'all. Look, y'all, it's been over 20 years. A lot of the details are there, but that's how I got her last name, is by seeing the card on the counter at the thing. So, well, that did.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Okay. All right. Well, yeah. So that's how I got her last name. So I didn't know her last name to look up her phone number in the book. So I saw it that day on the counter in the dorm. That's how I got the last name. I didn't write it down. It just stuck. So I went and got my campus directory phone book. And a lot of y'all may not know what a phone book is, but that's, who has phone numbers in it. So I flipped through it, found her name, found the phone number. I would love to tell you I still remember that number to this day. I do remember that it was 601, I think 46. No. Okay, I don't remember. But I found the phone number, and trying to build the courage to dial that number was like, to me, it was probably like trying to climb Mount Everest. Like it was that nerve wracking. But one day I actually did. I finally did. I dialed it. Her roommate answered the phone, and she was like, I think she told me, she said she'll call you back or something. And so I'm like, okay, all right, whatever. Hung up, and I guess her roommate must have told her, I called who I was, told her that I called. And did you call me back, or did I have to call you again?
I think you called me. I remember you calling back.
I did?
I do remember you calling back.
Or maybe you told her to tell me to call back. Okay, we'll go with that because that's what I remember right now. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm talking a lot, but
the thing is, I'm so thankful I didn't do what I was thinking to do, because I was thinking to hook her up with him. Because at the time, yes, I did have a boyfriend, but I was like, okay, I think this is a good man, and I wanted her to be with a good Christian man, and so I was gonna hook her up with him, but I didn't. I didn't do it. I don't know. I just didn't do it, but that was my plan in my head. So yeah, thank the Lord for that.
Yeah. So, excuse me. So, got the call. Finally got her on the phone, and we had a conversation, and we kind of got to know each other a little bit there, asking questions about where we were from and about our lives, in general things about our lives, stuff, that kind of thing. And I think in that conversation too, she did tell me, like she had a boyfriend, and we could, we saw each other around campus. We just, have a cordial type of friendship, hey, how you doing, type of thing. And that's what we did. There was nothing more than that.
It lasted for how long?
That was probably 2 years.
Yeah.
Probably like 2 years of, just, kind of seeing her around campus, speaking to her, and maybe casual conversation here every blue moon, seeing each other. Yeah. But then, y'all, so one day I was sitting in the cafeteria.
Oh, wait, let me tell this part.
Okay.
So, well, he had went missing so I did notice, okay, I did look for him. Like I looked for him because I noticed when he was missing. Because he was gone for, how long were you gone?
Well, that year I think I missed the first 2 or 3 weeks of school.
Yeah. And so he went missing, and then when I finally saw him again, first of all, he looked totally different because he had lost a lot of weight. But he went missing. But anyway, so I remember I was walking. This was when he came back, I believe. And I was walking with my boyfriend, and Marlon was walking towards me. So like we were going this way and he was coming this way. And like in my head, I had this thought, and the thought was, what if you're wasting your time with this man? And what if this man is the man that God has for you? Like I never forget that thought. And then lo and behold, look what happened. But that's the thought I had, and it just came out of nowhere. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so one day I was sitting in the cafeteria, and I think I was sitting there by myself, or I think the guys that I was eating with had already gotten up and left, and I don't know what I was doing really, but I think I was left sitting there by myself at the table, and I don't know if Joelle walked in or if she came from like the other side of the cafeteria, and I noticed her, and she came like over to the table, like where I was, and I was like, oh, hey, we spoke, and the conversation we had that day, I'm just thinking about it now. I don't think I've never forgotten the conversation. I don't even know if we've even had this or brought this back up since then, really. Well, I think we have. So she sat down, and we started talking, and she was like, we broke up. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, yeah, me and my boyfriend broke up. And I think did you get a new number or something?
I don't know, but
seemed like you either got a new number or that's when you gave me your number.
Maybe that's when I gave it to you. Yeah, that's when I gave it to you. Because you had my room number.
Yes, right. So I had her dorm room number. So this was the first time she actually gave me her cell phone number. But it was right, when she was telling me, yeah, we broke up and da da da. And I'm like, why is she telling me this right now? Like, I mean, we weren't like close friends or anything. I mean, it's kind of weird though, because it was almost like we had this friendship that was, I guess, maybe you felt comfortable enough to tell me because you were interested. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
exactly
I
what it
wanted you to
was,
know.
but
Yeah.
she was, she let me know, like, hey, look, I guess, I'm available. And I was like, why is she telling me this? Gave me the number, and we started talking a little bit more, a little more frequently on the phone. And time progressed. I think I don't know how long it was after that. She stopped coming to school to the school, and I was like, oh man, like wow. We just kind of started talking a little bit and kind of getting to know each other, and then all of a sudden she wasn't there, and I was like, wow. So her birthday came around. I think this was probably 2005, or no, maybe 2006.
Yeah, it probably was
I think
2006. Yeah, it was
2006.
2006.
Her birthday was coming. Remember, I knew when her birthday was from the very first time we had our encounter at in the rec center. So I was thinking, man, how could I, like, what could I do to, you know, I guess to reach out to her, to contact her, or something like that? Because it seemed like I had lost your number or something too. I think.
I think you did.
I think I had lost.
Well,
a
you would
number.
call sometimes. You would call sometimes, and I would like, I'm call you back. I wouldn't call back.
Was that then?
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened a few times where she told me, like I would call her and she'd be like, yeah, I'll call you back, and then she never called back. And I'll call back again. It may have been like a week or two later, but I call back again, just to check on her. Oh yeah, whatever. I call back. So I'm like, okay, well, whatever. And she wasn't there. So y'all, I took it upon myself to go and buy a card and a bookmark that had a scripture on it. I can't remember what scripture was, but a bookmark, and I put it in there and I wrote something on the card, I think, and I put in that card $21. It was her 21st birthday, and I think I may have. I'm trying to figure out now how I got your address. I think that's why I think the addresses may have been
you know what?
in the directory. I
Maybe
think they
it
were
was.
in the directory.
Yeah.
I think I got her address out of that directory, which thinking back, that was a little strange.
Yeah, it is.
But I think I got her address out of that directory. So I sent her that card, and I was just like, well, I'll just send her a little gift. Let her know I thought about her and wanted to wish her a happy birthday. And she called. I think, did you call me after you got it? And I think that kind of blew her away. I'll let you say a little bit about that if you want to say something about that.
Yeah, I don't know, that did a lot for me. So that's really when we started talking more. And when I started, when I stopped saying I'm gonna call you back and and not call back, like I would actually call him and we would talk, and we just got to know each other a lot more during that time. But the thing was, I just wasn't ready for him before then. Like when I was at USM, I was not living for the Lord. I was in a backslidden state, but he still saw in me. I guess he saw past that in a way, and so he could still see that there was something there, and I could recognize, I recognize the Spirit of God in him. So I just wasn't ready because I was in a backslidden state, and so I left USM in 2005. I left USM to just get my life together because I was just playing around, partying. I had joined a sorority, just doing all the college things. And so I wasn't ready for a man like him at that time. So well, first of all, I don't think he would even been attracted to me in a sense of getting into a relationship. Like he thought I was a pretty woman, but I wasn't ready. And so I think during that time when I left, like that was my time to get my relationship right with the Lord. And so I really wasn't wanting a relationship during that time. Like I was just focusing on being single and growing my relationship with the Lord. And then at that time I was celibate. Like I was celibate for 5 years before me and Marlon got married. So a lot was just taking place within that time, really of us first meeting to when I left USM, and then we connected all over again. Like that was the right time, and when we connected the second time. So I'm just thankful for that time of growth that I had before we actually started talking.
Yeah. And like she said, I mean, I thought, certainly thought she was beautiful. I thought she looked good, and all that. But I knew within myself. Now, I did know that she had received the Holy Ghost, like that she had, she had been in a Bible teaching church that, where she knew she needed the Spirit of God. So I knew that she had the Spirit of God, and I knew that she had kind of, turned and started going left, going the opposite direction. So as far as pursuing for a relationship, I mean, like she said, I mean, it wasn't something that I was trying to do, because I knew that I needed a woman that was full of the Holy Ghost, that was walking after, that had a heart after God, and that was, that I could trust was, walking the way that I was walking according to the Word of God. I knew that if we weren't walking, in the same direction, we weren't in the same book, following the same principles and doing those things, that it wasn't gonna last. So, like she said, there was growth, and there were things happening behind the scenes, and things that God was doing before we reconnected, or before He allowed us to come back around that full circle, and really start. I mean, it was a couple of years after that we really started like a serious relationship, but where we really started to get to know each other on as friends and that kind of thing. So that's kind of, well, not kind of, but that's how we met, and then that's how we started to get to know each other. We'll probably have to do a part two of this, because we don't want to make this thing. I don't know how long we've been talking so far.
27 minutes.
27 minutes. Yeah, I think 30 minutes is probably long for a start. What you think? Think we'll do a part two, or what?
I don't know.
We want to try to keep going.
It would be nice if we could ask y'all.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because this, I don't know, it's.
I guess we could go a little. We could say a little more. Yeah. So okay. So that was all that happened. Now we're up to about 2006, where she left. We reconnected. We start talking more on the phone. Kind of get to know each other. The whole start falling asleep on the phone. I was listening to her breathing.
You hang
on
up.
The phone.
No, you hang up.
Yeah, you hang up first. No, you hang up first. All that. We did all of that. I would sit there and listen to her breathe. She would fall asleep on the phone while we're talking. And I still didn't want to hang up the phone, just in case she woke up, and then we could start back talking again. Yeah, I know. Those were the days, y'all. I mean, now, she'll just fall asleep on me, and that's it.
Really?
But yeah, so that's how we met and all that. So we get to, let's say, about, when did you go?
Okay, so 2000.
Yeah, I think you can kind of pick up now, because you.
Okay.
But for where you got accepted to nursing school.
Yeah. Okay. So during the time when I moved back to Mississippi, well, I was in Mississippi. When I moved back home, I was pursuing my nursing career, because I really wanted to be a nurse. Well, I wasn't getting into nursing school, so I was going to change my major and be a speech pathologist. I got into speech pathology school at Mississippi. Mississippi Women's?
College?
No, I can't even think. Mississippi Women's?
Like Mississippi College.
Nuh-uh.
For women.
Oh, maybe. It was close. It was in the Starkville area. So I'm trying to think of the name of it. Anyway, it was a women's college. And so I got into speech pathology school. And so my parents, we packed up. I was actually going to move my brother, because my brother was already going to Mississippi State, and he had his own apartment and all of that. So I was going to move in with him. So we were actually moving the stuff in. And I think was I on the phone with you?
Yeah, we talked.
Like, I was talking to him and telling him I was moving in and all this stuff. And y'all, I got a call from the nursing program from Jones in Ellisville, Mississippi. I got a call, and they said that they had a spot for me in the nursing program.
Yeah. Now, Ellisville was what, like 30 minutes from Hattiesburg, I think? Now, I had an apartment in Hattiesburg at the time.
Yes. So, I mean, that's just, so what happened? Okay, so that caught me by surprise. So I was like, okay, I got to think about it, even though I want to go to nursing school, but I'm just like, wow, we already packing, with my mind, like, if I accept something, it's hard for me to just switch again. So I had to just switch my mind around again to be like, okay, now I'm doing nursing again. So me and my parents, we packed up everything and we headed to Hattiesburg, Mississippi. So yeah, so I ended up back in Hattiesburg. Okay, so y'all, I left Hattiesburg in 2005 and ended up back in Hattiesburg in 2007.
And I was still there.
And yes, and he was still there. Y'all see, it's so amazing. So my parents, they found me an apartment, and so I had my apartment. He had his, and y'all, let me tell you, temptation was still there in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. At the time, my ex-boyfriend still lived in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. So I had some choices to make. I had some real choices to make because I could have fell back into that temptation. So, I mean, I really could have, but thank God I didn't. And I chose this man right here. And I chose the way of righteousness because I could have, I could have gone back into a backsliding state. I mean, I really could have because, how many people do that? You break up with your ex, you get back together, break up, get back together. You're not good for each other, but you still end up back together anyway. So yeah, it was all God ordained. So yeah, I moved back. I started nursing school. Marlon was there with me through the whole thing. He saw me studying and having books and papers everywhere, and he would help me practice for my labs and yeah. From there, it's just kind of history, I guess. I mean, well, we got to talk about when did we make it official? So we made it official in 2007, our relationship.
No.
It wasn't 2007?
No, it was 2008.
Wow. So we were still just,
yeah,
friends and getting to know each other.
Yeah, we at this point, we had gotten pretty close as far as, we were pretty close friends at this point. And in 2008 was when we actually made it official as far as, okay, so here's the thing about me. As a teenager, I knew that, okay, so I've probably had, I'll just say like 3 girlfriends in my lifetime, like before Joelle and I started our serious relationship. And I say girlfriends as in, like, it was literally like we were friends, it was, and we called each other girlfriend, boyfriend, but it was certainly nothing serious. Obviously, we were very young, but as a senior in high school, I had a girlfriend, went to college. She was still in high school. She was a junior when I was a senior. When I graduated, she was a senior. So that, that wasn't serious. So that broke off when I was a freshman in college. Now, I knew within myself, the first person that I got into a serious relationship with, that would be the person that I wanted to be my wife. Like that was just the mindset that I had from a very early age. Now, I don't know how God. It had to have been God. It had to have been the Lord, because nobody taught me that. I just knew that I didn't want to play around, with okay, yeah, I'm gonna get this girlfriend, this girl. I just knew the first person that I got in a serious relationship with, that's who I wanted to marry. Like, I wanted that person to be the person that I stayed with for the rest of my life, basically. So to move back forward, now I'm trying to think of where I left off before I took that detour.
Can you scratch my back real quick, please? Okay, thanks. That's good.
Kept the right spot the first time. Okay, I kind of lost my train of thought there, but that was a detour. So I knew. Okay, so then 2008 is where we kind of got into, and I knew, okay, this is gonna be a serious relationship. Let's make it official. This is, Lord, like, this is the woman that I believe I want to be with, like, forever. 2008 official. Okay, girlfriend boyfriend thing. I never liked that term, the whole girlfriend boyfriend. I mean, especially not as young adults. I just, to me it was just kind of a childish. To me, still to this day, it's kind of a childish term. You know, you can think what you may about that, but that's just my opinion. So we courted for that year.
And we prayed about it first.
Absolutely. I mean, we did pray. It's funny because we prayed some things separately, like away from each other, that God confirmed, like just during the time we were, in that relationship before we, took it a step further. And God confirmed some things to both of us that were like, okay, like, yeah, all right, this is the one. Like, this is it. There's, for me, there's no more, there's no searching. There's no, okay, he's still young, just, go kind of move around, no, this was it. Like that, I got what I needed in confirmation, from prayers that I prayed, that this was the one for me. So we made it official, courted for a year, continued to grow and get to know each other. And she was in nursing school now, like she mentioned. I mean, she was in the books. I mean, like, a lot of our time that we spent together was me helping her study for a test or trying to read them 13 cylinder words in the nursing books.
Cylinder.
No, I meant to say cylinder.
Oh.
I know.
Okay.
So trying to help her pronounce these words and read to her when she was, read to her when she was tired.
Too tired to read myself.
I mean, we went through all of I went through all of that with her. And then she graduated. You graduated in, was it 08?
08, yeah.
Yeah, it was 08.
Wait.
No. It was after that because I graduated in 08.
Well, I got my nursing license in 2009. So.
Yeah. Well, it must have been.
Because it was 2007, 2008. I went to nurse school 2007, 2008.
Okay. Yeah.
And then, yeah.
So we actually graduated not far from each other as far as the time frame. But then she had to, take the NCLEX and all that. So basically 1 year after we made our relationship official was the time that I proposed to her. And like I said, I already knew that this was the one for me. And, obviously she had to say yes, but set up the whole, thing for the engagement. Did it the traditional way. I talked to her dad beforehand, and got his blessing and his his approval basically to ask for his daughter's hand in marriage. And it was, I think that's, I don't even, well, I guess some people probably still do that. Some
more traditional.
Yeah, maybe more traditional, or if it's fitting. I mean, sometimes the young lady's dad's not even around or not even present, so he can't do that. But it's certainly something and that's another thing. Nobody taught me to do that. I mean, I don't even know I'm really not sure where I got that from. I'll just say again, it was a God thing. Now, there were some people that I, as far as men that I admired, that I looked up to, that I kind of watched from a distance and learned some things from, as far as, how to be a man, how to treat a woman, how not to treat a woman, things like that. But I still believe that that's a proper way to handle that type of situation. You're a young man out there and you're, considering marrying a young lady, and if her father is in her life, she has a relationship with her dad, you need to have a conversation with her dad before you approach her thinking about marriage. Again, that's my opinion. That's my 2 cents on that. I just think that it's an honorable thing to do, and it will make your life and her life go a whole lot smoother and easier if you have the blessing of her father over your marriage. So got engaged in 2009, which was 1 year after we made our relationship official. And then, y'all, 1 year after that, we were married. And that has been 15 years ago now. That's the story of, there may have been a few details here and there left out, but that's the story of how we met, where we met, and how our relationship got started, and the engagement, and then we got married, and then 4 children later, 15 years in, 17 years together total. Actually, at the end of February, yeah, well, I proposed to her in February. Like, it was on February 28th at 7:47 p.m. Yeah, exactly. I had a picture painted for her. Where is that picture?
In storage, I'm sure.
Okay, yeah, we had it in the hallway at the house. Yeah, so that's our story.
Yeah.
That's our story. Now, if you guys have any questions about anything that we mentioned, or maybe you thought there were gaps or something somewhere, leave in the comment section. Ask us. We'd love to come back and answer some questions. If there are enough, we could possibly make another video to answer. Otherwise, we could just respond in the comment section. Anything else that you think
There's my wheels are turning, but yeah, well, I'm thinking about, we're gonna have to do another video. And it's not more of our story per se, but my wheels are turning. But yes, that is our story, and I'm just so thankful to God, and I'm thankful that I gave my life to Him, because that really changed the whole trajectory of my life. Like, I could be married to someone else right now and be completely miserable. But thank God I gave my life to Him, and I just feel like God honored that. I believe He honored me, keeping myself and being celibate for those 5 years and waiting on my husband. Yeah, I'm thankful. And I'm thankful that I made that decision to do that, to honor God, to honor myself, my body, and my husband.
Yeah, so you guys heard it. There will be videos following this. We wanted to kick it off with telling our story, so you guys get to know us a little bit better. If you've watched to this point, thank you for watching. Subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell so you're notified when we roll out these other videos, as we start what we're calling the anniversary series, talking about marriage. Like my wife said earlier on, we're not trying to claim that we have all the answers. We certainly don't. We're still growing and learning each other, and going through the challenges of life and raising our children, and just life, things happening, and loving on each other. And we want to bring you guys along, and maybe something that we've experienced, something that we've learned over the years, will be a blessing to you, and you can find value in that. Or if you can't, maybe you know someone who can. So share this video with them. So like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment. We appreciate you guys watching. And until the next video, we'll talk to you later, and God bless you.
Bye.